Alright, so I had a crazy idea today. Not really crazy. I just got back from Magic Shadows over Innistrad pre-release. Now, I don't actually play Magic actively. I like going to some of their events like pre-releases, where I feel like I'm on pretty even footing with everyone else. Um, we went 3-1, and we ended up getting third place. Oh yeah, it was two-headed giant, and I didn't even have a partner. I just kind of like showed up. I was like, pair me with someone. But I didn't get like a complete novice so as my partner, so we did pretty well. But going back to this, I was thinking like about the problems I had yesterday. So just to summarize the problems I had yesterday, we have pitch black moon in the deck, but we only had like 16 resonators in our deck, which is a little bit low to utilize with pitch black moon. The other thing is I had Cathugs, I had Dream of Juliet. I didn't like the Cathugs. The Dream is awkward, and it's still awkward unless they have what is it called? Unless they have Robofire at like against us, or maybe like a barrier. Granted, those are things that this deck kind of struggles with. So I wanted to just do a quick test of what this deck would be like if we went more of like the Italian aggro deck style. So I cut a space-time collapse. I cut a Pricia, which that was a hard cut to make, but I felt like in a lot of games, just chaining Precious is good, but if you're gonna chain Precious off Rukh Eggs, it was a little difficult to like. Precious is either good or bad. If they have like Robe or even Artemis Bow, Precious is arguably not as good. Um, Another thing is I wanted a way to finish, so I replaced. So we cut a space-time collapse. We cut a Pressure. That's two cuts. We cut a Laevateinn, but I replaced the Laevateinn with an Apollo just to buy stuff back since I wanted to throw in a Pumpkin Witch. What else did I make? What else did I cut? I don't remember what I cut, but I somehow fit in three Cheshire Cats, three Adombralis. So I made a total of 3, 6, 7, 8. I made a total of 8 cuts somewhere. I cut a Thunder, so that's one cut. Uh, Leviathan is 2. This is 3. This is 4. There's 4 other cuts somewhere. Oh, 2 Cathugs and 2 Dream of Juliet. That's the other 4. And then I cut 2 of the Scorched Bales for 2 of Hearth's core. So our stone base is a little bit more varied here. We're still base red. And I just want to give this a try really quick. There's never a game for me to just join, it seems like, so I just want to almost always have to make my own game. So the general idea is to aggro them out early on, and if they stick a robe, then we switch to like the Pumpkin Witch plan. Um, and the Pumpkin Witch plan is decent uh, with the Gill Lapis Gods art because a lot of times what we're stealing is not gonna have flying, but it's usually gonna be something strong or something decently big. And so having a Pumpkin Witch in the deck means we can give it flying. We can buy back. We have Adombralis, which are basically free because of the incarnation. Running Adombrali, or running. I put the Adombralis after I put in the Cheshire Cats because I wanted more draw. Previously, we had no draw. And that was kind of a problem. We had no filter. And so I feel like if we're going to run 5 color, we want some amount of filter. And so we'd Adombrali, like Cheshire Cat and Rukh Egg, or Cheshire Cat and Pricia for 3 effects there into to Adombrali. And the idea is if we Pumpkin Witch first, assuming Pumpkin Witch doesn't get countered, and even if Pumpkin Witch gets countered, we can probably just buy it back with Pitch Black Moon. Or stuff you can do is like you can Pumpkin Witch and then like Adombrali, and then like bounce your Adombrali and then play Adombrali again or something like that. There's just a number of combos you can do. Other thing is that by having a black resonator in our deck, if we ever trigger the tree on Alice, um, yeah, if we trigger the tree, the tree, and they get an Alice, we can Pumpkin Witch and then incarnate to Adombrali to just instantly kill them. So that's a plus. We'll see if someone joins our game here. This guy's solo. This is our game. There needs to be a way to filter on here by game. I don't see any games that are just open other than that one, which is dual commander. So it looks like we'll just be waiting. Yeah. So it's interesting because Magic, I believe, Magic Standard is just left the time where they had insane color fixing, just like Force of Will does right now. So they were running like 4 color decks in Magic, and now they're going back to a format where probably you can run 3 color at best. Uh, and Force of Will until rotation. No, even after rotation, because Rulers and Warriors are still going to be in Standard. We're going to be playing a lot of colors all at once, which I think is fair because I think it's good for the game because of the way the game is. I say that because a lot of colors are kind of unbalanced, like blue is not on the same power level as say red or green in this game. And so if you wanted to go just 2 color, if the only decks that are viable are like 2 and like sort of 3 color decks, then you're limited to the best colors in the game, which are basically going to be white, green, and red at the highest competitive level. It's going to be white, green, red, um, and so the other 2 colors of blue and black are going to see less play, maybe like a minor splash or two, but they're going to be less played unless you have rulers more, unless you have like insane color fixing, which actually increases the amount of the number of decks that are viable, but also is what causes certain decks like Alice's World to just remain on top as #1. So it looks like we're just going to have to make another game soon because no one's joining ours. Granted, it is Sunday night and it's like 9 p.m. A lot of people probably have work tomorrow. Just waiting for our game to time out and then we'll just make another one. Twas a 6 Asia. See, I don't know why, but like whenever I talk to people about 5 color decks, like it always seems to be like, oh yeah, I made a 5 color deck, 6 Ages, and I'm like, well, why is it only 6 Ages? Um, and I think that's partly because 5 color decks, even though the mana base is the stone base is not hard to set up in this game. It's not hard to do in Force of Will to make a 5 color or a stone base that can support 5 colors as long as you're heavily in like 2 colors, 2 maybe 3 colors, and you're splashing the other 2 colors. But no one seems to do it as often. Um, and I think it's because people don't have that sort of experience of testing. Like when you throw together a 5 color deck, you've got to think about almost every card in the game compared to like, oh, I'm gonna play a 2 color deck or a 3 color deck, and I know what cards are good in these colors, so I'm just gonna play those cards. But trying to make a 5 color deck that kind of fits together is a little bit more difficult. And I hope we can get a game here. I don't want to just sit here and just be like, okay, we passed 2 minutes of me talking and we haven't gotten a game. I don't want to do that again. And if that happens, then I don't know. I mean, I guess I would just end up cutting this video short, or maybe, yeah, I'd probably just end up cutting this video short and saying this is where I'm at, but I wasn't able to test it, so I'll just test it tomorrow. And that's kind of weird, but I don't want to just fire up a new video tomorrow and be like, well, here's the reason why I skipped yesterday. Um, no, I try to be consistent, do a video every day, because I would try to play like 1 to 2 hours of Force every day, just to keep me in shape, and also because I like to test new brews and test new decks and whatnot. I guess I should give a disclaimer as someone who does try to play as competitively as possible. Even though I know I'm playing, a lot of my decks I've built are not going to be tier 1. They're close to tier 1, and you can probably smash locals and like ARGs with them, but you're not going to smash an AGP unless there are like no good players there. If one good Alice's World player shows up, like they will just take the whole tournament. Um, that's because there's a reason why all the top players in this game go to Alice's World as the deck, because they know how to play it, not just like autopilot mode, but they know how to play it against almost any strategy, and it really is the most resilient deck against any strategy. Because what it's doing is proactive. Like it's literally putting you on a clock, saying I'm gonna put out these like different types of resonators and threaten to take extra turns. But it's also extremely resilient with cards like Sign to the Future. It also has the addition of Wall of Wind. It has the backing of Refrain to provide the consistency it needs, and has so much card draw that it can. And game one has a very strong linear strategy, but game two, what it can side into are actually it can side into a number of things, especially if it gets to side out all of its robes, which are dead in some matchups. But the thing is, refrain, reflects draw like filter ability backed by Morgiana card draw, Morgiana and other card drawing abilities like Familiar of Holy Wind and Cheshire Cat. I mean that if you side in one card into Alice's World, you're gonna see it in that matchup. Like it's not this weird case where you play against or you're playing like I don't know Magic and you don't really have good filtering compared to Force Will, because Force Will has more filtering than almost like any other stone based game or land based like will cost game. I'm not gonna say Yu-Gi-Oh because Yu-Gi-Oh doesn't really have costs per se. It does, but they're like different. They're not the more standard like incremental costs. So Force Will has better like tutoring and consistency than any other will based game where you pay with incremental will. Why does this person join my game? Okay, you know what? We're gonna join this Ruby Vixen's game. I don't even know who this. I wonder if this is. Here we go. It says Ruby Vixen has entered the game. Ruby Vixen's gonna play first. We're on the draw. Well, this is kind of awkward. What happens if I just miss turn one? Would that be bad? Yeah, that'd be pretty bad. So we're on the draw. Let's presume we're playing against aggro. Um, I think we just ship this whole hand, even though it arguably is pretty decent. It's just that we actually need that regalia. So okay, this hand is more reliable, even though the other hand was actually better. So Ruby Vixen moles all 5 as well. This is interesting. I have not seen Kaguya 2.0 in a long time. So play this since the Rukh Egg's not going to get anything. Go ahead and play this. Sure, you can wallow in my regalia, but I don't think it's very good. I mean, it's not terrible, but I feel like Wall of Wind on the regalia just to try to get me is not as effective. Unfortunately, I missed the regalia there, but if he wants to pay 2 to pop the Earth, then that's fine, I guess. So here we have a Magic Stone Scorched Bales. We'll see if he counters this. Second Wall of Wind. Yeah. Main thing is that we've plussed because our Perceval hit something. So even though we lost, we got 1 for 1 on the first Regalia, but our Lancelot is still, our Lancelot was basically, since we got a Lancelot off the Perceval, then we still plus. The Wall of Wind didn't actually impact us that much, I'd say. Elvish Priest. Yeah. He's gonna counter it. Is there like a Zeke's in his hand? See if he counters this. Put this one on top. Um, I don't feel like we play the Apollo here. We can just play it next turn if he was to like pop our Earth or something. We can Judgment next turn, so that'd be nice. Judgment. We can't attack, but I think we're okay with that. Not being able to attack. You can do it again if he really wants to. Very paying a lot of life, or at least taking a lot of life. That's 4. Plus. So he's taking 6, 34. So he's taking at least, he's taking 12 so far. It's pretty good between Perceval getting in some damage and some other stuff. Yeah. There is that. Space Time Anomaly is pretty good. Yep. If he was to Gwyber me now, I just Space Time collapse the Maribel and the Gwyber. That'd be really strong. Actually, at this point, probably just Space Time collapse the Laevateinn and the Elvish Priest, probably. Yeah, that's what it looks like. Go ahead and call Stone here. I think that is the play. We can attempt to space-time collapse. Um, we can attack with this, and then play one of these. I think we just pass here. I wish we had a way to search up the Pumpkin Witch in this deck. Looks like we don't, so it's something we'd have to draw into, which is unfortunate. There's no real rush to have incarnated there. I think it's better to have. Yeah, I think it's better to wait and see if he plays something. So it looks like a judgment. It's gonna cost 2, and he's spending the Moonwheel on X. 4X, I should say. Yeah, so flying, imperishable. Yeah, Polosphere. +8 +4, so +12. So it's a 16. Yeah. Pretty decent. Um, it's a 1 target resonator. Okay. I'm trying to think, given my current hand, is there a way to just kill him? Because he's at 22. Probably not, because he's a Cheshire cat. We don't necessarily have flying. We could judgment, and then we wouldn't be able to God's Art, but let's go ahead and see what we get though. Like here I can get a number of cards. I think a Lancelot's probably best. There's Pricia and there's Lancelot. I wonder if Lancelot's better here than Pricia, because Lancelot's cheaper. So there's that, and then there's draw 1. Let's see, so there's 400 to itself. Um, Yeah, it's optional. So it says, yeah, it says up to one target resonator. Okay. So there's that. What can I do here? I could grab a pitch black. No, I could call stone, buy back something. I don't have a pumpkin witch though. This is kind of the problem. Can I just take the damage next turn? I probably could. Go and play one of these. Play one of those and then play one of these. So Gill Lapis is just a Gill Lapis is just a 14 or just a 12. Um, just a 12. I could drop this from 16 if I really wanted to. I think I'm just taking the damage next turn. So it's probably better to just block and then banish Perceval to prevent the damage. So go ahead and do this and pass. Yeah, I think I'll just block and then banish Percy to prevent damage. I mean, sure, you can tap Laevateinn if you want. Yeah. So I'll be able to God's Art next turn. I can also threaten to just swing in for a bunch of damage next turn. So I think the one of Apollo I put in is actually relevant, like actually useful. Not having... I need more Pumpkin Witch in here. Because I keep forgetting I can't search them. Sure. But it's not like I have Swiftness anyway, so... Imperishable is not going to be necessary. Since I can just prevent the damage. So I have potentially 14 damage next turn, just with this. He's going to play an Adombrali. Yep. Draw one card. The Pitch Black Moon has been disappointing me all the time. I hate having it in my hand. Like, it's good when it's in your deck, but when it's in your hand, it's awful. So, I almost want to cut it, but I don't think I can because it provides utility. Like, being able to buy something back is pretty important. Banish 3 treasury items, gain control target resonator. That's pretty good, actually. But, yeah. I think Death Scythe is why this strategy here, this Kaguya strategy, is probably not too viable. But a Kaguya 2.0 deck is it's something I haven't seen it in a while, and it's something I like, to be honest. I can see it like with like Lancelots and other stuff, but yeah, it's just gonna call stone. Interesting. I guess that works. Yeah. Is there a way to lethal him? Probably not. Somehow I'm gonna have to sack off the Rukh Egg here. I can do it with Gill Lapis, but it might be better just to use his ability instead. Or use the God's Art instead. I should probably God's Art first. So, one, two, three. I think I should, yeah, I think I can God's Art here, so. Yeah, let's go ahead and God's Art. So we get an Apollo Sphere, I think. Is it Edition Field? It's an Edition Field, that's not an Edition Field. So we get Excalibur X, if we really want to. Get Gwyver, what is this card? Okay. I think Excalibur X is one of the better ones. So we can get our own Gwyver, we can get Excalibur X. Or we can get his Gwyver, get Excalibur X. Um, get Laevateinn. But if we get that, aren't we just dead to... Yeah, we're dead to him swinging. So I think I need... I think it has to be Excalibur X, Gwyver. I don't see an addition. Right, so Excalibur X and Gwyver. Yeah, so we have our own here. Let's see. We need to be able to cancel Maribel's ability, so I think we just pass here, to be honest. Because we need to trade Gwyvers. Probably take this Gwyver hit if we really wanted to swing. Yeah. We would chump the J ruler. And then banish Perceval. It's like a 18. How much is it? 1812? It's good that I was able to judgment before he wanted to activate the Maribel. Because now Excalibur X. Now it's going to cost a lot to target Gill Lapis, and Gill Lapis is a 16/16. So if he swings and I block with Gill Lapis and I banish the Perceval, then he's going to. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, and the reason why I God's Arted there is because I figured he had a if he's gonna run two Guivers, he's probably gonna run three or four at least. I don't think you just run two Guiver unless you're playing a specific deck like Puss in Boots. So there had to have been another Guiver left in his deck, and I needed to get it, so that's what it did. And he just incidentally happened to have an Excalibur X in his deck for some reason. He's drawn a lot more cards than me. He's drawn 4 more cards than me. Although, technically 2 more cards, because these were just fished out the deck. So, Pumpkin Witch. All things gain flying. Flying and swiftness. Is that lethal? Let's see, I can block 2. I take 12. 12 plus 9 is 21. So I don't think it's actually lethal. Unless he has another Adombrali in hand. Yeah. He has to have specifically another Adombrali in hand. I want to actually increase the number of Adombralis in this deck. Or not Adombralis, but the number of Pumpkin Witch in this deck. There's that. I think I just take this one. So he specifically has to have another Adombrali in hand. And there's no real difference here whether I Thunder the Familiar Polar Wind or not, because if it doesn't kill me, then it doesn't kill me. It helps that I didn't call both Moonshades early on, because if I had to pay 2 life, I would have been dead here. Spell Chant Instant. So he needs to have specifically an Adombrali here. I can Thunder him to 17. There's a number of things I can do. Thunder him to 17 swing. He chumps. I think. Yeah, because it doesn't say you have to pay the cost specifically. I feel like you do all this before you even go in the first place. Did you draw another Adombrali? If he draws the other Adombrali, then he wins. If not, I don't know if I have the win here. So he has to have a flyer. Okay, so he's digging for another Adombrali here. He probably gets it. I feel like this game was going to be close no matter what, but so far my deck feels like it's pretty streamlined. I mean, I don't think he's actually dead, is he? Let's see, he goes to 17. He takes 16. Yeah, he is dead. So I attack him. Now he's just dead, though. Yeah. It's weird because I honestly feel like I want to cut this push Black Moon. So it has edge cases where it can be useful, but it feels like it's awful. Like, sure, Gill Lapis goes out of it puts Gill Lapis above like Gwyber like power, but it just feels like it's taking up a slot in the deck that could be a second Pumpkin Witch. And I really wanted a Pumpkin Witch there. So the Adombrali was not terrible, I don't think. I actually appreciate the Cheshire Cat and the Rukh Egg. It feels like I want more ways to sack off the Rukh Egg though. Like I almost want a fourth Adombrali. What if I go down to I don't think I can go down to 3 space-time collapse. I think that's a little low. 3 Pricia seems right. 2 Flame King Shout. Thunders. Cat. I mean, what if we just went down to... No, this is difficult. I don't want to cut a space-time collapse. I don't think that's correct. Honestly, the Pitch Black Moon is like the worst card in here. I wonder if I can go to 7 Regalia. But I don't think I can do that. I'll keep the Perceval since it is a turn 1 play, but yeah. Like something about it seems weird. Like if I cut the Pitch Black Moon, it feels wrong from a deck building perspective, but right from a playing perspective. Because Pitch Black Moon has been awful. Like just awful. I've never really used it. I mean, I've used it like once in these testing videos, maybe twice. And it was relevant, but in this specific build, it just seems bad. Okay, so he plays Elvish Priest, draw. Okay, didn't think so. Didn't work out for you last time, probably is not going to work out for you this time. Okay. So if I hit on this, then I just purely plus. Yeah, I want the Pitch Black Moon exactly on bottom. And then we'll pass. So here we just plus off of the Perceval here. Yeah, without having Refrain's ability to search up Pumpkin Witch, I think we want to run at least 2. It's also possible this idea just sucks. We should go back to what I had previously, and then maybe cut the thugs for like Lucifers, and then... No, I don't know. I don't think so. I think having Cheshire Cats is really good. I feel like what he's trying to do, he's basically playing an Alice's World shell. There's so many Turbo Gwyber decks that are just not as good as Alice's World. And it's what makes it difficult for me to build a Turbo Gwyber deck, because I feel like I'm just playing a subpar Alice's World. So, looks like he has what? Mana for... No. Looks like mana for a counterspell. That's what it looks like. I'll take out the priest if I can. Because hitting him for 6 is relevant, but it's actually not as important as taking out the Elvish Priest. I think controlling his board is a little bit more important. If the Maribel is his only regalia that he has in hand slash field, then he can't pop my globe this early because he needs to make sure he's not missing on stones either. So I could Pricia next turn. That'd be nice. He didn't counter Lancelot, so for me that's kind of like a read of saying, okay, you don't have a counter spell in hand, and so he'd have to have drawn one this turn. And I can bet that he didn't. But I don't think playing Pricia is actually better. I don't think it's actually better than playing. Okay. I don't think it's better than playing the Rukh Egg into Adombrali. Rukh Egg, Cheshire Cat into Adombrali, and then probably popping the Elvish Priest. He can't Judgment, which is kind of funny. He didn't call the right stones for Judgment. So here we can swing for 6, just see what he does. He's probably just going to take the 6. Yeah. I think all these Rukh Eggs are a little bit excessive, and I probably don't want them. Play Rukh Egg here. So here we can get a Resonator. We already have a Pricia in hand, so I think I want to get the Susanowo just to threaten, like, not to play a Gwyber. Then we draw one. Well, we can't attack with that. We don't want to trigger Sign either. Go ahead and play one of these since it's open. Yeah, if I play something like a Rukh Egg, then I just turn on Sign. I don't want to do that, so I'll just pass here. Getting rid of the Elvish Priest is pretty good, though. I do like the interaction that this deck can do. Some of the interactions this deck can do. I think 4 Pricia is definitely heavy. After having played with it, I feel like that many Pricia, yeah, it definitely feels heavy compared to. Well, Adombrali can block Pricia. Granted, Pricia can gain flying, but if Pricia swings into Adombrali or just tries to swing and you have an Adombrali, it's not so good. Unless they have like a burn spell or something. So yeah. So that's the first stone he called that can actually uh, allow him to Judgment. Now I haven't seen a Laevateinn from him, so he probably doesn't have swiftness yet. I'm not certain. But I grabbed the Susanowo, so it's going to discourage any Gwyber plays. Yep. This thing flies, so he could hit me for 400 here. That wouldn't be too impressive. The one of Apollo was great, so I think it's something I do want to keep, even though it's kind of weird to have a one of. But it kept me from dying, and it can save you from dying to like a Gwyber or something. I still want to fit another Pumpkin Witch in here though. So it's a 12-8. That's pretty decent. Yeah, 12-8. If he doesn't block, I can pump Lancelot twice. Um, and I like that play. You can bash the Apollo Sphere and then cast Space Time. Yeah, so there's that. I could swing for one, I guess. I could also Judgment here, but if I Judgment, it's gonna cost all three of those. That seems a little loose. If he has a way to kill Gill Lapis. So I can probably just put pressure and throw another Lancelot at him. I think that's best to just go ahead and put pressure on with another Lancelot. This is why I want to keep 4 Lancelots and I don't want as many Precious, because Lancelot is only 2 cost, so it's a lot cheaper and a lot more efficient. And this is a 100, so there's no point in swinging with it this turn. It also allows me to keep playing around Sign by not committing more dudes to the board. The other thing is if I play Cheshire Cat and Rukh Egg, I may not hit an Adombrali, so that'd be really awkward just to be walking into Sign to the future and not really have a good way out of it. It makes me want to have 4 Laevateinn in the deck, but I feel like there are cases where you don't hit a Moonstone and you want to Judgment. Yeah, I think yeah, if you hit a Moonstone and you want a Judgment, if you don't hit a Moonstone, you want a Judgment, you have to do it with this. Okay. It's gonna get an Apollo Sphere. This allows him to cast 1 Space-Time Anomaly. That's pretty good. For 10. Yeah, that is pretty good. She naturally has Imperishable, so I'm gonna have to be able to aggro him out. Cast 1 Space-Time Anomaly, so let's say this one doesn't do damage. Be 12, 18, 23, so I'd be off. Yeah, I'd be off. I think. So suppose Cheshire Cat blocks one, The other one doesn't do damage. Main thing is it has flying, so I think I actually need to draw here. The sign's not very good. I need to kill Kikuyu is the main thing, so it's at 10 right now. Oh wait, he has a Maribel, right? Right, so that's kind of bad. I guess I'm swinging this here then. Okay. Yeah, so that was actually really bad on my part. I forgot he had a Maribel in play. And we'll swing. Actually, what we'll do, yeah, we'll swing this here. So if he has a wall of wind, then do I just kind of lose? No, not quite. Yeah, I don't quite lose to a wall of wind here. I take 4. Unless he has a pumpkin witch in hand as well. So I think what I can attempt to do is we'll play Pricia anyway. Actually, it's probably better to play the Lancelot just to be safe. And then go ahead and hit the yeah, go ahead and hit the Kikuyu this way anyway. Then pass, and then we open ourselves up to getting Sign of the Future. Yeah, I should have just played the Lancelot. This way we're not hit by Sign, which would actually be really good here. Um, yeah. Do 14 to us. Yeah, he could do 14 to us, but the problem is that we have Susanowo in our hand and 2 Lancelots. So don't we just win the race anyway? If he was to attack us. He could also hit us for 12, but then he only has like a Thunder, so like it's not enough. Both games we've been on the draw, and we've been able to. I think we're gonna be able to pull through this one too. So the deck definitely feels like it can race with a J Ruler heavy strategy, which is nice because it's something my Seerless struggled with. Yeah. 26. He's gonna have one blocker. I mean, if we just cast Susanowo, we lose though, because we get in. We only get in for 10, so it's like 14 me, 12 at me, right? What was I at? That was 8. So that goes to 6. If we also draw a Flame King Shell, I think we get it. I'm not sure. We have 6. Presume one of these is getting blocked, so yeah, we drew the sign, which is not useful. We get in for 10. We get in for a lot, actually. Does he have a... He probably does. Okay. It's a little difficult. Without another Lave, the Rukh Egg definitely feels awkward in the hand. The sign feels awkward here. I think I can cut down number of signs because we can incarnate Adombrali to Rukh Egg and deal 400 that way. I'm not entirely sure. Um, if we swing both of these here, one gets blocked. That's not enough. If we cast 2 Lancelots, we can pump 1 twice. Let's presume 1 Lancelot gets blocked. Then we have 6, 12, we have 19. We have 21. It's not enough. I think our best course of action is just to get rid of Kaguya here. So we have to call Stone. Could we have Judgment and God's Hearted? Oh, we could have. Oh yeah, that's right. No, I Judgment and God's Art there. Um, let's see. Well, Pricia can gain flying, so I don't think I can cast all 6 here though. Pricia can gain flying, but I can't. If he has a space time anomaly, I can't save her. So I think all of this is coming straight at Kaguya. Do I have space time in all main hand? Probably. Yeah. Yeah, so I just screwed up there. Because I forgot I could like, I didn't realize I could God's Art and like Judgment God's Art at the same time, so I need to get better at counting. I think I'm gonna cut on the number of signs, but I'm not sure. I think sign is actually still good, just not good against a J ruler strategy. So I don't think I want Adombrali early on. Rukh Egg also not very good. This is a lot better right here. But I also have stones that like that make it awkward to run Perceval because I could just like completely miss. So we have Rukh Egg, we have Pricia. It looks like Laevateinn the only one we can get here. And we bottom this, and then this. Yeah. So if he tries to wall of windows, then we can pitch the excess Laevateinn. So basically he's signaling that his hand is mostly awful. And then he's banking on a fast judgment into like a, yeah, something. A fast judgment backed by Mary Bells to prevent damage, to protect from damage. So you have the Wall of Wind. Go ahead and attack here. He'll probably just take the 6. Yeah. Then we'll pass. We could double Lancelot him next turn. Her, Ruby Vixen. So Cheshire Cat. I want to see like the Flame King shout a little bit more often. It makes me want to go down a number of signs. Go down to like 1 sign and go to 3 Flame King shout. Or maybe just move the signs to the side. Because that might be a thing. The only problem is that like, unlike the Italian Aggromancy deck, we're not able to... Okay, so he's going to Viper me. Yeah. It's actually really strong. Unlike the Italian Aggromancy deck, we don't have a way to turn on Lancelot really easily. What if I just like Judgment really fast? With flying? And be the faster, like, Judgmented deck? That'd be interesting. Um, we're gonna attack this thing. If he blocks with the Gwyber, I can actually Judgment and then kill Gwyber. I think? Well, I guess he has 1 mana to, to, pop, to, pop, the, to pop 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 the, does have 1 mana to pop the interdimensional vessel. So we'll go ahead and pop this thing. So 6 damage there. Is it better just to double Lancelot here instead? Because he can pop the Apollo. So it's probably better just to double Lancelot. Granted, it depends on his 1 card not being Wall of Wind, but I have a feeling it's not. So Gwyber has 6 damage on it. I could pop like the rest of his board almost. Yeah, I think it's better to keep calling stones here, to be honest. He's most certainly going to block this, I think. Yeah. We'll see if he Walla wins this. If he does, then he gets a lot of value out of this, but if he just blocks, then I have a lot of damage on board. And he has no board except for like a Gwyber and Elvish Priest, I guess. Basically, I'm threatening to trade 1 Lancelot for his Gwyber, because I was able to banish the Perceval to protect the first Lancelot. If he wants to save his Gwyber, then he's going to lose his Elvish Priest. Yeah. So we're both down on a lot of cards at the moment, but if he attacks with the Gwyber, I can crack back at it. He most certainly has to call stone here. It's awkward that Gill Lapis doesn't, the half the Barrier Shadows effect turns off the moment I Judgment. Otherwise, I could have just Judgmented it and then played this for flying and then swung at the Gwyber. But since after I Judgment, it's not going to cost anything. So his 1 Elvish Priest that was up would have been enough mana to pop my Apollosphere anyway. I wonder if I'm able to just raise him. I'm also bigger than the Gwyber, so that's a thing. I mean, all of these are going to have to swing at something, and I presume it's going to be him. Because I think I can raise the Gwyber here. He could sign me right now. I think. No, no, he can't, because he's got 2 and I've got 4. The space time's actually really good here. Because if I call stone, I'm likely to hit it, but I can't get the space time, so I have to grab. This, I think. Go ahead and play one of these. I'm actually okay with Laevateinn. Because I don't need to swing this turn. He's going to be able to pop Laevateinn anyway. So, what I need to do is be able to threaten the next turn. Percy's actually very good in this deck. I think 3 is a good number. Because I don't want to flood on Percy. Actually, I almost do want to flood on Percy to an extent, but... So he's a 9/9? Yeah. Well, if he swings, I can just... if he swings, I can always crack back for a lot more. I'm still out of sign range, which is really nice. I think the Kaguya deck, the awkward thing is that if you call the wrong stones, then you can't judgment and utilize it. And you don't actually want to put a bunch of Moonshades into play because you have to pay life. For me, the Pitch Black Moon is relevant a little bit, but not so relevant. I don't know. I kind of want to cut the Pitch Black Moon. Would it have been good here? Sort of. Not really, because he used Space Time Anomaly. And I'm going to use Perceval just to protect from damage anyway. The one of Apollo is super good. I'm convinced now that's super good. 3 Percy seems right. 4 Lancelot seems good. I want to go down on Pricia, actually. I may go down to 2 Pricia. That sounds ridiculous, but I feel like Pricia's not that good in this deck. It's great in Sylvia, but in this deck, without acceleration, and without ways to turn on Lancelot to keep them low on board, I feel like Pricia is really expensive. Really? That's interesting. I mean, all of these are gonna have to attack before I swim with Gill Lapis anyway. And I have to leave this up because if I'm gonna counter something, it's gonna be the other Maribel popping my Apollo. So it's 16-12 is what it is. So these are gonna have to swing first. He's most likely gonna chump one of them. I don't know if he chumps the other one. And then I swing and then God's Art before I pass. Well, it depends on what I draw, but I think I God's Art before I pass because it allows me to pass with an immense board state that's just really strong. like my opponent has to sign into barrier. And if my opponent sides in a barrier, that actually hurts this deck a lot. This has been space-time anomaly to be what, a 9? Yeah. Yeah, it's been anomaly to 9, so it's only a 9/9, so blocking here doesn't do anything. So this Lancelot becomes a 1/1 essentially. And he'll have to have another space-time anomaly to prevent my flying attack next turn. Yeah. Yeah, but here you can see if I don't have acceleration like in the Sylvia deck, then sure. Yeah, like in the Sylvia deck, then I don't think Pricia is as strong. Pricia is great in Sylvia because if you go turn 1 Elvish Priest, like you can back Pricia up on turn 3 with a rapid growth, and that's really nutty. Or make her flying on turn 3 because you have 4 mana on turn 3. But in this deck, Pricia is really expensive. It should still be game because it's like 14, and then I've got a ton of attacks that come in. Now, Barrier of Shadows really hurts this deck. So I'm curious what options I can side into. Pitch Black Moon, again, not relevant. Not really relevant. The extra stats here were not like superb. I think it's still, let's see, I would swing for 12 without it. 12 flying, but isn't he still dead to all the attacks? Because he can block 2, it'd be 2 Lancelots. It'd still be lethal, it'd be 20. And then I could God's Art. Even if it's not lethal, I can get in 1 flying hit and then God's Art, and then I'm in a really good position after that. So I almost feel like the Pitch Black Moon here is not great. Yeah, so I have to screw up, or I can just cut one of the signs. The signs feel awkward. But all of these have to attack first, so um, I do think that is the play, because I know what I can grab here, but yeah. Yeah, so these have to swing first. I guess you could sign the future on me. Okay, so the signs are probably not as good as. Well, if he was the double Gwyber me, I don't like the signs in this list. They feel awkward. Flame King Shout would have been a little bit better here. I think a third Flame King Shout and a fourth, or in a second. Yeah, I think I want to cut the signs. Like some number sign, probably. And go to 3 Flame King Shouts. Pitch Black Moon, I'm still not impressed with. Like, I think I had it no matter what. Especially if I pass with Gwyber up, but I don't like the Pitch Black Moon in this deck. Yeah. Just want to be courteous here. And then let's go ahead and the signs, not so great. I think another Flame King Shout would have been great in getting rid of like Cheshire cats and stuff. We don't have many targets to put into play with Pricia, or with Flame King Shout though. So we have Lancelot, we have Pricia. That's about it. But yeah, the signs don't feel good here. I'd probably go down to 1 sign. Probably no signs. Like 0 signs probably good. Like probably decent. Pumpkin Witch can get us the last bit of damage off. It's not as good without Pumpkin Witch is not as good without Refrain backed up to counter spells, like counter spells. So it's a little awkward to play Pumpkin Witch in this deck. I could cut the last sign and go to a third Flanking Shout. I don't know. I could cut the Pitch Black Moon. But I think in a control matchup it might still be good. Because it allows you to pitch like excess Rukh Eggs. You have to have a specific regalia. You have to have like your Moonshade, like one of. Yeah, you actually have to have one of your Moonshades in play, and that may not happen. Is that the only way we have to actually activate Pitch Black Moon? I don't think it's worth running a card slot just to give +2/+2. Like in all honesty, I don't like that. What if we just cut the Pitch Black Moon? Because every time it's been in my hand, it's been awful. So has Sign, to be honest. Almost every time Sign's been in my hand, it's been awful. I like the general direction of this deck, though. Being able to play Adombrali feels good. Like, it feels like I'm doing something right. I think the issue is that Adombrali and Pumpkin Witch are not as good in this list compared to the Italian list because they have Necromancy of the Undead Lord, and I don't want to run those. So I think the general direction here is not as strong. I like the Apollo. That Umbrelli's okay. I don't know if Adombrali's better than just running like Lucifers though. I like running the Cheshire Cats, but if you're gonna run Cheshire Cats, you need something to do with them. I don't think Bonsai Attack's something we want to run. I like the Adombralis because it gives us another way to sack off the Rukh Egg. So maybe the Pumpkin Witch is not so good in this deck. Because it doesn't feel like... Um, yeah, I don't feel like the Pumpkin Witch is as strong as if we had Necromancies that could make Adombrali like a 10-10. So if we cut those, this gives us 2 slots. Allows us to go up to like 3 Flame King Shout. Maybe run the 4th Pricia. Could run an Earther. The Earther's not that good against a control deck because you don't really have. You're just playing a 3-mana 8/8. Could run a Gareth. And that could be relevant. Could run 4 Cats and 4 Adombrali. That wouldn't be too bad, I don't think. Could also just run Gwyber. And be like... Gwyber's awkward though, because we'd have to specifically go Rukh Egg, Cheshire Cat, Gwyber, then Adombrali. And I feel like if you play Gwyber, you're just opening yourself up to an enemy Susanowo, and that'd be really bad. In a way, I feel like I want 4 Spacetime Collapse. I think killing a Resonator and a Regalia is super strong. There's nothing else that can incarnate blue, or nothing else that really works with Cheshire Cat, so we could Bonsai Attack, or we could Adombrali. It feels like the number of cards that interact with the Cheshire Cat, or give you value after Cheshire Cat, are not very high. So it's either we become like a mid-rangey deck, or... yeah, we either become like this mid-rangey deck, or we just... I mean, we're kind of mid-rangey anyway, aren't we? Because we're running like Lancelots, but we're backing them up by Spacetime Collapse. We're also running Adombrali and like Cheshire Cat and stuff. Okay, so let's try this. What if we ran... what did we do? What did we just do? We went up to 4 Spacetime Collapse. I think I do like that change though. It hurts other decks that are relying on Ruler's Memorias to an extent. It's just a matter of whether we want Cheshire Cat, another Adombrali. I don't like flooding on Chesh or Adombrali. A lot of times when we're under pressure, we want ways to deal with stuff. And so it's probably better just run another Flame King Shout. I don't like the 4th Pricia. Pricia feels heavy in this deck. Like really heavy, especially against Wall of Wind and stuff. So I think 3 is the right number. Pitch Black Moon. I'm still iffy about this card, but I think in a long grindy game it's good. Yeah, Pumpkin Witch. Pumpkin Witch not as good without Gwyber. Is it still worth running? Like a 1-up Pumpkin Witch? I can't think of another slot that... what if we just do? We just run a 1-up Pumpkin Witch, because... I can't think of a better slot though. But I feel like we want 2 in the deck. By that argument, we want to go down on Spacetime Class. But at the same time, I don't. It seems wrong to not run 4, because I've really wanted this card a lot of times, especially last match, to hit one of the Merry Bells or something. Also to get rid of a Gwyber so I don't have to just try to race it. The Sign's been the worst card in this deck. Yeah, I think even though Sign is good with Adombrali, I feel like we're putting on a lot of pressure anyway, so that Sign is not better than a Pumpkin Witch. Let's just do this. Let's go try this. Playtesting for real this time. test RVA. What is RVA? Okay, that's password protected. We're almost running on 2 hours anyway, so this video is going to be a little longer than my previous videos because I feel like this list is like almost there, kind of. It just needs some numbers tweaking, and that's what I want to try, because this is an idea I really want to push and really ground out and see if it's worth, like if this is the right direction for Gill Lapis, because I have a feeling it's actually not a bad idea. Like it feels pretty good to me, like just thinking about it. The way this deck, like you get card draw, you get Adombrali, and you have like ways to finish. Like you can God's Art steal their best dude and then Pumpkin Witch give it flying. Like this all makes sense to me. Like they just thinking about it, but the numbers feel weird a little bit. I'm glad I went down to 3 Pricia. I almost want to go down to 2 Pricia. She feels expensive, but I don't know. I want to get in at least one more game, not specifically a match, but one more game, and then we'll go from there and see if that's the right direction. I never type in here for game up. I usually just let someone look and join, but I don't want this to take forever, so. Okay, so he's going to show me what he's playing, so I'm just going to show him, just to be courteous. This hand is like perfect. So if we hit a Ruler's Moria, then we curve out exactly. But if not, then I guess we just have an awkward turn 1. We have 6 cards, 4 Ruler's Morias, and I presume you're keeping. I rolled a d20. So go ahead and play this thing, and I'll pass because I hit. There are 6 stones in my stone deck that could cast a Perceval, but I didn't hit any of them. So we're just gonna look to turn 2 Lancelot. I wanted to keep my hand. He could have resolved mulligans. I have no idea. He's not even talking, so. But yeah, I almost always just let the turn selector do it, because what I found is that no one ever rolls if they won from the turn selector. But if they didn't win from the turn selector, they're like, let's roll. And I'm like, what? No. It's exactly the same odds. Like, does he? This is why I don't like using full art cards online. You can't even read this. I feel like online, like, don't try to be flashy and just play with cards that are readable. Well, I'm also like recording, so it's better for the cards to at least be somewhat readable, and it's less important to these guys. Okay, this guy has like no idea what's going on, so I'm just gonna leave, and well, I want to refresh the games really quick if I can. Come on, refresh. Okay, maybe it's not gonna refresh the games list. I'm sure there are more games than this going on. I'm just gonna make a new game. The guy wasn't talking in chat. I have no idea what he was doing. But it's certainly like if he's not gonna communicate with me, then I don't know. Like that hand was actually really good on the play, so I would have kept that. On the draw, I probably would have mulliganed the Pricia away, since it's a little expensive. But yeah, like I said, we're almost hitting 2 hours here, but I just want to get one game in, not necessarily a match. If it does turn into a match, I'll play the whole thing out. But I just want to get at least one game in, just to see how it is. Let's see, this was made 5 minutes ago. Go ahead and type it again. Oh, does it automatically, if you type in the same thing, does it cancel it out? Or does it treat it as a repeated request? That's interesting. Let me type this again. Game up. Does it post? Doesn't look like it posts. That's cool. So they have repeater, some sort of like repeater. I'm a programmer, by the way, but they have a way to check if the exact same message was sent multiple times in case there's like lag or something, and make sure it doesn't like flood spam the chat over here, which makes sense because if you're actually lagging like way up here, then your chat's not going to show up and you're probably going to think it didn't work, so you're going to type it multiple times. Whereas everyone else who isn't lagging is going to see a bunch of like just spam messages of the same thing. And by making it so that if you type in the exact same thing as uh, what was previously posted by you, then it doesn't go through. So that way, if you don't, even if you don't see your chat going through, you don't end up spamming the chat. I think that's decent design. Actually, that is pretty good design. I feel like most games should have some sort of filter so that you can't just like copy paste, copy paste, copy paste, and like keep spamming chat. So I'm glad Untap does that. I think that is good programming precaution. For people on the East Coast, it's already midnight, so I'm only gonna be able to test with other people like on the West Coast where it's like 8:30 over there right now. I don't know if there are enough West Coast players in this game that actually use Untap. So I may just need to call this video. If my game time's out, I'm just gonna call this video and we'll test this tomorrow. And like usual, I'll probably wake up and be like, oh hey, I have an idea, or I have some ideas on some of the cards in my deck that are probably not doing so well, and I'll make those changes. Did I already cut the Pitch Black Moon? I love the Pitch Black Moon. I bet tomorrow, either after waking up or after testing a couple games, I'm just gonna be like, this Pitch Black Moon is awful, and I feel like cutting it. and then I'll probably realize once again that okay, I haven't tested against a control deck in a while. I need to test against that before I decide to cut it. So it's gonna be this back and forth. Like this pitch black moon is is awful half the time, and it's okay the other half the time. And it's I don't know. It's gonna be one of those clunky cards in the deck. But I'm the only Force Will game here. It looks like. So I think. Come on, refresh, please. Now my game's not even here if I just click on a different tab. But I think someone should see the game, or if they just see what I'm seeing right now, which is not an updated list. I think it's like a cached list. Then, okay, so there's someone else that had a friend he's testing with, as opposed to me who just tests with like random people, just kind of get a feel for the clunkiness of my deck and how cards work together. Yeah, okay, so if this time's out, like I said, I'm just gonna cut the video short. We'll pick it up tomorrow. Meanwhile, okay, yeah, but here's just a quick snapshot what the deck looks like. Current thoughts are: should I sideboard the Pitch Black Moon? This opens up a card slot. Uh, in a way, or the One of Apollo has been great for me. The Earth has been good, but I'm a little worried about what happens if they just like barrier me. If they barrier me early on, all of these regalia, except for like Apollo maybe, which gives me flying, all these regalia just suck the moment they barrier me. And the only way I can judgment is to um, hit enough stones to pay for judgment. So having a way to pop a barrier or just making my deck not susceptible to barrier. So if there's a way to, this is kind of why I like the Cheshire Cats, because if they have a barrier on me, I can probably put excess regalia on top, and then Adombrali the Cheshire Cat to shuffle it away, and then just try to power through the board. Um, so that's one weakness of the deck that is helped by having Cheshire Cats and Adombrali and the Pumpkin Witch sort of strategy. But I don't know. We just need to test it, and we'll see how it goes tomorrow.